Video is for educational and informational purposes only. Always consult your healthcare provider before making any health decisions. What if the most powerful plants on Earth were recorded in scripture thousands of years before modern science ever discovered them? Most people read the Bible every single day, and walk right past these plants without ever knowing what they were truly meant for. Stay with me, because plant number 4 is going to completely change how you see God's provision for the human body. Before we dive in, I have to mention 2 plants right now because I cannot wait. Plant number 3 is so deeply woven into the story of Jesus Christ that most Christians are shocked when they realize they have been reading about it their whole lives. And plant number 4, most people have absolutely no idea that ancient healers considered it more valuable than gold itself. But first, let's start from plant number 1 because the order matters. Each one builds on the last. Plant number 1, Hyssop. Psalm 51:7 carries one of the most intimate cries ever written in scripture. Purify me with hyssop, and I shall be clean, wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. King David didn't choose this plant by accident. God had already placed hyssop at the center of Israel's most sacred rituals, from the sprinkling of blood on the doorposts in Exodus to the cleansing ceremonies of the Levitical law. When David cried out using this specific plant, every reader in that era understood exactly what he meant: purification at the deepest level. Hyssop, known botanically as Hyssopus officinalis, is a small, bushy herb native to the Mediterranean region, the Middle East, and southern Europe. In biblical times, it grew abundantly along stone walls and rocky hillsides throughout Israel and Judea. Ancient Hebrews used it as a natural brush, literally tying bundles of hyssop together to sprinkle water, blood, and oil in ceremonial rituals. Its presence in the most sacred moments of Scripture is no coincidence. Hyssop contains a compound called pinocamphone, and studies suggest it has traditionally been used for its support of respiratory wellness and digestive comfort. Many people report that hyssop tea has been used for centuries to support clear breathing, particularly during seasonal changes. Traditionally, it was believed to help the body's natural cleansing processes, which makes its symbolic use in Scripture even more meaningful. Research indicates its essential oil contains antioxidant properties that have been recognized in botanical studies. If you have ever felt spiritually or physically weighed down, tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix, this plant has been calling to people in that exact place for 3,000 years. David wrote that psalm from a place of deep brokenness. And yet he knew exactly which plant to name when he needed renewal. There is something profoundly comforting about that. You can grow hyssop easily in a sunny windowsill or garden. It thrives in well-drained soil and loves full sun. A simple way to experience it is as a herbal tea. Steep 1 teaspoon of dried hyssop leaves in hot water for 8 to 10 minutes, strain, and enjoy. Many find the slightly minty, slightly bitter flavor both grounding and calming. Now, plant number 2 is one that most Christians have heard of, but almost no one knows its full story. And once you hear it, you will never read the Christmas story the same way again. Plant number 2, frankincense. Matthew 2:11 records one of the most famous gift-givings in human history. And going into the house, they saw the child with Mary his mother, and they fell down and worshipped him. Then, opening their treasures, they offered him gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. The Magi didn't arrive with random offerings. Frankincense was a sacred resin burned in the temple of God, mentioned over 50 times throughout Scripture. Exodus 30 lists it as one of the 4 ingredients in the holy incense burned before the Lord. This was not decorative, this was intentional. Frankincense comes from the boswellia tree, a small, hardy tree that grows in the rocky, arid hillsides of Oman, Yemen, Ethiopia, and Somalia. To harvest frankincense, workers make small cuts in the bark and allow the milky white resin to bleed out and harden into what are called tears. These tears have been collected and traded for over 5,000 years. In the ancient world, frankincense was literally worth its weight in gold, carried by caravans across the Arabian Peninsula to Egypt, Israel, Greece, and Rome. Modern research into boswellic acids, the active compounds in frankincense, has generated significant interest in the scientific community. Studies suggest that these compounds may support healthy inflammatory responses in the body. Many people report using frankincense essential oil for promoting a sense of calm, grounding, and clarity during prayer and meditation. Traditionally used for centuries in Ayurvedic and Middle Eastern wellness practices, it is known for being a centering, sacred scent that many find helps quiet mental noise. There is a reason this resin was burned in the temple, in the very presence of God. Ancient priests understood something that we are only beginning to rediscover. that certain plants and resins can shift the atmosphere of a room and the atmosphere of a mind. If you have been carrying anxiety, heaviness, or spiritual restlessness, frankincense has been meeting people in that place for millennia. The simplest way to experience frankincense today is through its essential oil. Add 2 to 3 drops to a diffuser and let it fill your space during morning devotion or evening wind down. If you prefer a physical connection to its ancient roots, look for high-quality Boswellia resin tears online. Burning a small piece on a charcoal disc creates the exact experience priests had in the temple thousands of years ago. Before we go further, I need you to do one thing right now. Because plant number 3 coming up next is the one most people skip, and it might be the most historically significant plant on this entire list. Hit that like button right now so YouTube keeps showing you content like this. These videos take real research and real care, and your support makes them possible. Now, let's keep going. Plant number 3, cedarwood. The cedar tree stands tall across the pages of Scripture, mentioned over 70 times from Genesis to Revelation. In 1 Kings 5, King Solomon specifically chose cedarwood for the construction of God's temple. So Solomon's builders and Hiram's builders and the Gebalites cut them, and they prepared the timber and the stones to build the house. God didn't just inspire a building, He inspired the specific material. Cedar was chosen because it was known as the most noble, most enduring, most sacred wood in all the ancient world. The cedars of Lebanon, Cedrus libani, were among the most prized trees in the entire ancient Near East. Growing high on the slopes of the Lebanese mountains, these massive trees could live for thousands of years and grow to heights of 130 feet. Phoenician merchants built empires trading cedarwood to Egypt, Mesopotamia, and Israel. Egyptian pharaohs used cedar oil to preserve their most sacred texts. The very concept of something lasting, worthy, and set apart was embodied in this tree. Cedarwood essential oil, derived from the wood and bark of the cedar tree, is one of the most studied arboreal oils in aromatherapy research. Studies suggest that cedral, a primary compound in cedarwood oil, may support a calm, grounded mental state. Many people report finding it helpful for creating a peaceful atmosphere before sleep. Traditionally used across Middle Eastern, Egyptian, and Native American cultures, cedarwood has been known for centuries as a grounding, stabilizing, and clarifying plant material. Research indicates it also possesses properties that were historically used for preservation, which is precisely why ancient people trusted it for their most important structures and texts. If you have been feeling scattered, ungrounded, or spiritually rootless, cedarwood speaks to exactly that. There is something about a tree that has stood for 1,000 years, that was chosen by God for His own house, that